Right guys, welcome. I'm going to show you today how to install Scotty Rocket Launchers, which I have here. These are the rocket launchers I use on my kayak. As you can see at the bottom, it's got a bracket that the actual rod holder fits into. The rod holder itself can actually come out of the bracket, and you can put it in and change your angles for when you're out fishing, which I'll show you in a minute. It basically just fits in, slots into place like so. You can move it around, slide the other way. Sweet, cool. So I've got an Ocean Kayak Trident 13 here, which is the same as my kayak. This is a friend's kayak, and I'm just about to install his rod holders for him. The best place I find to put these rod holders is just in front of your paddle leash, sort of the knob where you put the your paddle leash. I basically put it about there, and as you can see, there's perfect space here right in front. Just for the mount to go. Yeah. Right, so what you're going to need to install your Scotty rocket launchers is obviously your rocket launcher itself, as you can see there. The mount or bracket that it comes with should come with this 4 bolts. Some people like using different type of bolts to put it into their kayak. You get the compression bolts, that sort of thing. I just prefer these normal Loctite waterproof ones, and they don't rust as well. Well, they do after time, but they hold out for quite a while. What else are you going to need? You're going to need to make holes in your kayak, which not many people like to do, but you're going to need a drill and a drill bit, and just to make sure that that's watertight, I have a sealant here, which I'm going to put around the holes to stop the water from going into the kayak itself. What else are you going to need? You're going to need some sort of spanner or a pair of pliers so you can tighten the bolts. And the only reason why you can actually do this method on a Trident 13 is because you can actually get through the main hatch in the middle, and you can reach around and attach the bolts. If you had a normal kayak, you wouldn't be able to access the inside of the kayak, so that's why this one is it's probably unique to this kayak, being able to install it there. Right, you're going to need to make a hole obviously where your bolts need to go for obviously where you're going to drill into your kayak. I'm just going to use a screwdriver, and I'm going to put it through the holes and make a little mark. You can use a pencil or a pen, but remembering it's quite deep and it's going to be hard to get your pencil in there. So I've got my 4 little indents now. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera. It's quite hard to see it with the naked eye, but you can use a pencil. I just find I've got 4 little dots now from where the screwdriver is compressed into the plastic itself. And all you simply do now is just drill your holes. What I will say though is this is a size 4 drill bit. These screws are size 6. You always want to go smaller than what it actually is. Obviously, because when you screw the screw in itself, you need to compress the plastic against the metal to stop as much water coming into the kayak as possible. And obviously, when it comes to drilling into kayaks, you want to make everything as small as possible, because even the tiniest hole can let in a lot of water when you're out fishing, and it's not what you want. Sweet. Just remember as well, when you're drilling, make sure you drill straight, not at an angle. As you can see, you've got your 4 holes now in the kayak, which is where your bolts are going to go through. And to access that, when you put your bolts through to touch the nuts on the other end, you basically take off your center hatch and reach through. And all we got to do now is just put our mount on and insert all 4 bolts. Right, as you can see, all 4 screws are in now. That's in there pretty tight. That's without even putting the bolts on, so that doesn't look like it's going anywhere anyway. But what we've got to do now is now reach inside of the kayak and attach your bolts to the end of the screws, which is a bit of a mission. That's the Scotty mounts now installed. 4 screws and the bolts underneath, obviously through the inside of the kayak. And the last thing to do is just to add some marine glue or some sort of sealant to stop the water. Those bolts are in there pretty tight and they're not going to go anywhere. Like I said, the hole's a bit smaller than the screw, so it's actually formed a waterproof seal anyway just by screwing it in, and this is just extra measure. But yeah. And that is now our second rod holder complete. What I normally do with the Scotty mounts is I just move them until they're at about a just over probably about a 60-degree angle, I reckon. I literally just slot them in now. So as you can see, that's both rod holders now installed, facing forward. And literally it's a case of just adding some sort of bungee, drilling a little hole, attaching a key ring, attaching a bungee which then attaches to another key ring on your reel and on your rod or on your rod itself. And this would be like when you're out in the water now, you'd have your rods facing forward. When you come in, it's literally a case of lifting them up, turning them around, facing your rods backwards, like so. Obviously without one being the other way if the wall wasn't there. And you have your two rods at the back, you've got plenty of paddling room. Sweet. That's the two Scotty Rocket Launchers installed. Have fun installing yours and tie lines on the water.